Hey Scorpio, this is your November 2023 soul story. If you have a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, this is your reading for the month ahead. Happy solar returns if you have a birthday this month. It's Romy. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me and tune into the channel. We're going to open up this month with the Prince of Swords, and you really are the awakener this month. This is a season that is asking you to open your mind further than you ever have before. And to some extent, you will feel the kind of crossroads moment in November, more in a kind of wider collective energy. And, each and every one of us having the opportunity to really make personal decisions and, hopefully that really align with the highest path possible so that we can influence the timelines that are now around us. And, your role in communicating the messages that you receive, the experiences that have shaped you, the way in which you understand the journey that you've taken and what that now means in terms of the adjustments that you have to make in your life. It's incredibly important because how you share that and express that, even in your day-to-day, existence, through the work that you do, the relationships that you have, it's making a huge difference this month. And, it is a season with rich emotional opportunities for you and infinite possibilities. So, the question is, what is it that I want right now? And how can I best support myself through this? You have to figure out what those needs are so that you are in a position to be able to, communicate that with others. Now, there will be an incredible sense of needing to shapeshift through the month of November. We're going to welcome Saturn moving direct at 0 degrees of Pisces on the 4th of the month. And, this is really going to advocate for that opportunity to kind of demonstrate to yourself and others everything that you've learned. And you do get a green light, and this is like a quite prominent month in the year to kind of really get an awful lot done in a short space of time. And what we're seeing is keep those communication channels open. There's incredibly powerful and potent messages and news making its way towards you. You may be asked to pick a side through the course of November. That might be quite challenging for you to do, Scorpio. And in some ways, I think what truly matters is that you align with your truth. And, as we work our way towards, of course, the incredibly powerful 1111 portal, which is going to have an interesting Mars opposite Uranus aspect. Uranus is kind of, really stirring things up a little bit in the first half of November. But what it does bring, as we harness this portal, and it really does feel like this is a portal of awakening in November for us all. And much of the energy, I think, preparing you for 2024. So you're likely to get a glimpse and a feel into how things are going to start to unfold for you, through the course of the next year. But with that 1111 portal and this Mars opposite Uranus aspect, we have this kind of incredible capacity to tap into a more galactic energy. And, there is this sense of shock and surprise and, unexpected encounters. And, this is why I'm saying you have to kind of allow your mind to open further than it ever has before. Now, we've got the major arcana energy of death coming through. Of course, it does connect into your sign, the phoenix rising here, and the reminder of the cycle that you've been through, the transition that's taken place, the metamorphosis that's happened. And so this is you rising up now. This is you reclaiming something. And this is an opportunity with that portal, not only to consider what is well, what is it that I want for myself? It's also, what is it that I want for the collective? What do I want for New Earth? Because the crossroads energy that we are in November, it's very important that we consider how the personal decisions and choices that we're making are really pre-paving the timelines and the pathway forth for what we're all set to experience in the years to come. Now on the 13th, we're going to welcome a new moon in Scorpio in your sign, coming in at 20 degrees. And the sun will opposite Uranus for this particular lunar event. And so here, it feels a little erratic and a little unpredictable in terms of some of the energies that might be coming through. But at the same time, there is this feeling of awakening. And so you may be really incredibly compelled to share news that might feel quite shocking, or you might be on the receiving end of that. And some of the events and scenarios that play out in and around that time, of course, are giving you the opportunity to kind of reset and embark on a fresh new pathway with the intentions that you're holding. And your Two of Wands tells me that it's critical that we have some sense of a plan for ourselves, not so rigid that we can't kind of continue to gather information and make changes where necessary. But really, I think you're going to have much, much more clarity about where you want to get to. And actually, that's going to really support you in making some more committed decisions in terms of who you're surrounding yourself with, or the environments that you're being a part of. I feel like there may also be a surrendering of something around that time because of the nature of some of the sort of unexpected disruptive qualities that Uranus is bringing. It sort of almost forces your hand with something. And, there are times where we feel that surrender is almost like giving up, and sometimes that's why we resist it. And to, a certain degree, it does involve, a level of grief, because what we have to let go of is, our unmet expectations, if you like. But you are kind of coming through what feels like a more uncomfortable change. And as you talk and communicate and express that, with yourself, with others, it then helps you to formulate this new plan through November, which I think is all about this freedom to change yourself, to change your life, and, to really start to do things differently. Remember, life is like a mosaic of all the experiences and all the people that have, shaped you and left these imprints on you. And, this is your reflection time and your consideration of, the degree to which, that is truly a reflection of who you want to continue to be, or if there are changes that you're now ready to make. And the Five of Wands does tell me that there's some conflict that's going on with you. I think you will be receiving like the real story in regards to something. And, this is especially highlighted with Pallas Athena shifting into your sign on the 19th. We really get to the heart of something. There's an incredible level of insight, but there's also a kind of ruthless, like relentless need to uncover and discover something. So the conflict arrives with it. And what I want to say here is that sometimes the real story is difficult for us to be able to receive because we are so busy telling ourselves, the narrative that has been a part of our life or our existence for so long. We can't possibly digest or make space or kind of wrap our head around something. But it is a season of sensing, perceiving things very differently. You have a really lucky day to look out for on the 17th. There's a whole series of kind of cosmic conversations happening. Mars trining with Neptune, the Sun conjunct with Mars, Sun trining Neptune. And, it feels here that your ability to be able to reach for inspiration and receive, highly spiritual messages, but also in your conversation with other people, really feeling a little bit more harmony, especially after some of the disruption of Uranus around the 11th to 13th. And what we kind of see happening in and around this time is you being able to find resolution with something that also helps to initiate a powerful action. So there's something that you're going to do as a result of what happens in and around that date of the 17th, okay? And, this is helping you to feel more like yourself than you ever have, or certainly for some time. Except as you look around and you consider the ways that you're, kind of responding emotionally, it almost feels like none of that is almost echoing or mirroring any part of your old life or your old self. You have changed that much. There has been so much growth and so much evolution within you. And I think this is the thing with November. It's like you really get this kind of front row seat to witness the degree to which, things have moved on. And, that can feel invigorating and exciting, but it can also feel quite overwhelming. And so, as we ponder, the way in which, we now want to kind of finalize the last few weeks of 2023. Ace of Swords, I love this for you. This awakening feeling, this deep need to kind of follow your truth. And to, even regardless of the consequences that exist, really take a stance and sort of fight for something and stand up for something. And, this will make you in, some circles unpopular, in some relationships as if you're coming across as the protagonist. But I think you have something really important to say. And, part of that is about really realizing you can't keep going against yourself, in the choices that you make, the compromises that you've agreed to, the rules that you're accepting. And so, this heralds like a shift for you. And it's absolutely been born as a result of what it is that you've gone through, in this last 11 months of the year. It's like we cannot ignore that. Gone are those times where we could have experiences and then keep repeating the patterns without this degree of awareness. It's like, too much. The activations have been too powerful for you. So even where it may cause discord within yourself or others, I think you're kind of inextricably pulled through the course of November to just make something happen. And again, that comes from a need to kind of speak out and, to really stand behind that. And I actually feel that, you will be able to cut through a lot of BS. You'll be able to kind of really call people out where necessary. You'll be able to call yourself out, which is, equally important, so that we, appreciate that we're not deceiving ourselves in any given moment. And, this energy that's kind of moving through November, again, is helping you to tap into other dimensional frequencies that can really support you. There's a huge feeling of dragon energy, which will be accessed through that 1111 portal, but actually, on an individual basis, the type of frequency that you can also tap into. So check out this month, my soul guided journeys. We have an 1111 activation, but we also have a Dragons of Light meditation for you, really helping you to harness, to understand, and to work with the energy that they're bringing forth right now, why it matters, why it's important. Seven of Pentacles. We are in a period where you're set to see, the rewards and the results of much of what you've worked towards and what you've invested in, whether that be a relationship, something connected to your career or your work, your health and well-being and vitality. And so again, with Saturn having shifted direct, we're ahead of the next Mercury retrograde that's going to be arriving in December. Like, this is a kind of green lights, scenario where we want you to kind of really feel, I have done the work. And of course it never stops, but we have to also kind of give space for things to start to show up for us. Sometimes when we're so set on pushing or forcing, or we get to that point of feeling frustrated and thinking it's never going to happen. November is full of these surprises that show you everything was always in divine order. Everything was always fully understood. It was just perhaps that you couldn't see quite fully that bigger picture for yourself. Now, I think some of you have some incredibly interesting opportunities that will also surface through the course of November, likely to be from the 17th onwards. Pay attention particularly between the sort of 17th and the 20th. Again, I think Pallas Athena, asteroid goddess in your sign, is really kind of helping to unearth something that's meant for you. And maybe it passed you by before, maybe you just missed out on something. It's coming back around. And this time it feels like it's right on point for you. There is a sort of clarity and like a precision-like energy that lands in November. And it feels comfortable to you. It's how your sign likes to operate and move through the world. And so the infinite possibilities that exist through the course of this month, are also putting you in a position where you really need to think carefully, like, is this what I still want? And, there are going to be other things that pique my interest and my curiosity. So, that's a good position to be in. There's certainly, a feeling that there's not going to be a lack of conversations, interactions, scenarios that crop up that are here to kind of demonstrate to you, look, we haven't forgotten about you. You've not been left behind. Far from it. This is an opportunity to realize that you can make an incredible amount of progress even before the end of the year. And remember what I said, you're also going to have this feeling that, you're preparing for and that you're being set up for a lot of the energy and how that energy is going to feel through 2024. It's like the preview that comes in. So as we move into Sagittarius season, of course, it links in with the second house for you of value, gives you an opportunity to sort of almost ask for more and be bigger in your thinking and, allow your mind to kind of really expand into these infinite possibilities, We have a full moon in Gemini landing on the 27th of the month at 5 degrees. Now, this one is opposite Mars, so we might feel a little bit challenged. We may feel we have to defend or justify something. So there could be a little bit of an unsettled energy because, of course, we've got the duality, the polarity, that sort of mercurial feel. But again, the sort of the nature of, this, I need to speak up, I need to kind of use this sword of truth, is really going to help you to still say what needs to be said. Just be prepared that when you do, you might be inviting some feedback that feels, at times a little more charged or hostile than you might have expected. I still sense though that, regardless, even if it sort of feels a bit disruptive for you, there's such a clear vision kind of emerging through the course of November for you that I don't really feel, Scorpio, you're going to allow anyone or anything to kind of stop the progress of that. And even when you might be very close to home, coming up against some challenging or opposing views, sometimes that doesn't mean that they're coming necessarily from a negative place to try to stop you. It's just someone almost trying to play devil's advocate. Have you thought about this? Have you considered this? And you yourself may be the one that's taking that role on around that full moon Gemini. Yeah, the news and the information that lands at that full moon is critical. It's critical because it illuminates where there has been a tug of war and, these competing ideas and forces and the disharmony that's been, sort of permeating for some time does have an opportunity to get resolved. But it does require a different emotional response from you as well. And Ace of Swords is kind of telling me everything that, we need to know in regards to how you need to respond. It's transparency, it's truth, it's clarity, it's honesty, it's kind of having the courage of your conviction and just really trusting that the breakthrough that comes in spite of the discord or, any of the kind of disagreements that might be permeating is really powerful. And it seems to take communication to this next level. Okay, so as I said, this is a month of awakening. Now, if you're new to the channel, our last 3 cards we cover in the extended version of the reading. I talk for another 30 minutes or so, Scorpio. We look deeper into this month, but also look at a personal question and also a relationship card for you as well for November. I'm going to go ahead and just clarify the main cards to see what type of themes we're going to be working with. Now, I want to highlight to you, November is the time where I put out all of my seasonal offers. So if you're looking at my sacred titles, my deck, my book, goddess and angel reports, and also very limited edition number of guide and the gift readings that I've been doing for the last few years. These are personal recorded readings. You can find all of that information. These are going to be available for the month of November only. And just make sure you're tuned in on my website and my social media channels so that you don't miss out on some of these seasonal offers that are coming through. Okay, what do we have here? Another Two of Wands. Four of Pentacles. Another Ace here. We always owe it to ourselves, you know, through our solar return season to kind of show people, to demonstrate the ways in which we've changed. They may feel it, they may see it. In fact, you know, there's no doubt to the degree that they have kind of recognized that shift in you. But we still need to kind of articulate the ways in which our needs, our wants, our values have shifted. And this energy about November that is saying you have permission to change your mind, to change your outlook, to change how you dress, how you look, who you are, like all of these things. You know, it's such a powerful message, but you know, you have a role to play within that. You know, it's not about people second guessing, because then they're just going to try to default and go back to the way in which they've always treated you or what they've always expected from you. You have some strong work energies coming through this month, which I really like. I feel there's going to be some potent turnarounds for some of you. If you have kind of gone through that season where things, you know, it felt a little sluggish. So all the decks I use, Scorpio, just a reminder, always listed in the comments section and description box underneath, yeah? Alright, so let's have a look at Life Soul Vision Oracle. If you're new to the channel, this is my own personal deck, so please check it out. Again, there will be some seasonal offers around this in November. What do we have? Full Moon, Soulful Surrender. We have the Spirit Crane, Dance with the Divine. Ah, beautiful. Of course, Rainbow Dragon and the Wild Rose. Just a reminder of how much we will be working with dragon energy this month. Please do check out my guided meditation along with the 11:11 activation. We have Blossoming Soul Song, Labyrinth of Sweet Surrender, and the Eclipse Revelations. You'll still be feeling, you know, the rumblings of kind of what took place with that Libra new moon eclipse in October and the final Taurus lunar eclipse taking place. You know, there's that sort of 6-week powerful arc of influence that we can still be affected by. Okay, so we've got a couple of dragon oracles this month just to support the energy I'm feeling from them in November. What do we have here? Fire Dragon burns up the lower energies around you. We'll cover these more fully in the extended by way of their messages. What else do we have for Scorpio? Energy of grace. Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a beautiful solar returns this month. Be sure to check out the seasonal offers that I have listed through the entirety of November. I hope I will see you on the extended reading. You can find the links for that below. You take good care, and I will see you again very soon.